Yeah, I think just being open, is so much fun, and being open to all of what makes Peloton special, whether it's the breadth of different instructors, whether it's just high-fiving some random person, or, like you indicated, I'm a big Reddit person. So I joined the Peloton Reddit community, and I get so much great information there. And I think that really enhances it. So like the more you do, the more you get back.
It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the clip out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 194. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe.
Hey.
Hello. That was different.
I like to keep you guessing.
I was like, have you been watching reruns of What's Happening?
No, that would have been, isn't that a different sound? Isn't it like, wait, now I think I'm getting all of my 70s show. I was going to go, hey. That's Fat Albert.
Yeah.
So I had a whole different.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's fat. Where What's Happening was Dwayne would be like, hey.
Yeah, I don't think I even know that one.
You don't know What's Happening?
I mean, I know of the show, but like I don't have an image in my head.
I forget too that you're like a little bit younger than I am. Why do your fingers keep getting further and further apart when I say that? You're a little bit younger than I am. But so like that was...
The older we get, the less it matters.
So like that was on when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
And you would have been like 1 or 2 years old. So... And there was a reboot. That was like, reboots aren't new. They rebooted that show in the 80s called What's Happening Now.
Yeah. I got nothing.
But you wouldn't have watched it because if you didn't watch the first one,
why would you have watched the reboot?
Why would you care about the reboot, right? Nobody's watching Cobra Kai if they didn't watch Karate Kid.
Oh my God, Cobra Kai is so good.
That would be weird.
It would.
So there you go. So anyway,
I'm like all intrigued by my new webcam.
We got you a new fancy pants webcam.
But now the Clip Out logo is like really faded. I can't see it very much. I think we need to brighten it.
Okay. That's something we'll work on.
All right.
So before we get too far afield, we should also probably remind people about the stuff we've been doing on Clubhouse.
Yeah. So every Sunday, 4 o'clock Central. So it's 5 o'clock for Eastern and 2 o'clock for Pacific. We are getting together on Clubhouse. We're going through some of the bigger topics that we covered this week. And then we open it up to any Peloton questions.
Yeah, and it's a great way for you to talk back and chime in. And
think of it like we get to do the show in person, like you're listening to it with us.
Right. So, and if you haven't got a Clubhouse invite, swing on by the Facebook group for the Clip Out, and there's people out there helping people get their invite so they can get in over there.
Yeah, and so two things. One, I just need to send out another thank you to Stacy Kaplan and Lisa Silverstein. They have been amazing with getting people onto Clubhouse. Like these ladies, when they decide they are doing something, they get shit done.
Yes.
And then I also want to mention that if you are on Clubhouse, make sure you follow the Wellness Club because that is where we're doing our shows out of. So if you click on the icon to follow every time a new topic pops up in the Wellness Club, and as they grow, there will be more. You will be invited to those. And if you want to follow me, you just click on the little bell, and every time I start talking, you'll know whether you want to know or not. I'm there.
It's kind of like what it's like for me when she starts talking.
Oh, you're gonna know. Tom.
Oh, I know. I know. So also, I will say, I guess, continuing the shameless plugs, don't forget, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeart, wherever you find your podcasts. You can find us. While you're there, be sure and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you'd be so kind as to leave a review if you're enjoying the show so people know that maybe they too would enjoy it.
Yes.
Here's a sample review.
Yay!
So you have a template.
Yes.
Great for Peloton fans. This is from Tammy in San Diego. I love this podcast almost as much as my Peloton. It's all the latest news and information about Peloton for those who are really into it and for those who are just getting into it. The hosts are married.
Yay!
Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
She rides. He
That's
does.
who knew.
She rides. He doesn't, which sounds weird, but he brings, a professional radio experience to the table. And it's seriously funny. Oh, I like Tammy in San Diego.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
She's his straight man, and it just works. One of my favorite podcasts. Keep up the fun and good reporting. Tammy Barnett, and her leaderboard name is Rides for Naps.
I love Tammy. She always says wonderful things to us. So
thank you very much.
Thank you for all the support, Tammy.
We greatly appreciate that. And where was that in the shameless plugs? Oh, Facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And, of course, don't forget to sign up for the Clip Out newsletter at theclipout.com. And we have a Fancy Pants YouTube channel like all the kids. I'm pretty much the PewDiePie of Peloton without the racism, I hope.
Yeah.
And so go over there, youtube.com/theclipout. You can watch these shows in all their HD glory. You can see Crystal with her new, even better webcam, because the one in the MacBook that all the Apple people pushed on her is kind of shitty.
It's not terrible. It's definitely better than my old one. But this is amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton stock ticker.
So joining us once again from Run, Lift, Live is John Mills. Hey, John, how's it going?
AKA Grandpa Shark. Yes. It's going on.
Don't sing it. They'll make us pay a royalty.
I got no money.
We know the feeling. So
I got kids and grandkids now. I got no money.
It's all over.
So before we jump into the financial aspect of Peloton stuff that you always talk with us about, we should probably say a little congratulations to you.
Yeah.
For you had a very fascinating post about
the Man Fortune.
The Man Fortune, and it went viral. It's up on my screen right now for people on the YouTube channel. They can see it's at 19,000 shares.
Right. Not comments and reactions. Shares.
Is that crazy or what?
It is crazy. Like crazy awesome. I mean,
right?
Just to be clear, it's well deserved. Like this post, like it got me. It got me because it's something that like should be something I know, all of us should know, and I had no freaking clue. Like, and so on the one hand, I feel really dumb, but you educated me. So we should probably ask for you to give us a short synopsis because there are people that haven't managed to see it yet, might be a little confused.
Sure. Well, I mean, every year around January, I put out posts relative to Martin Luther King Day and his birthday. And then I lead into February and I put posts out about Black History Month.
Sure.
But this year was kind of a different year, right? Given the events over the last few months leading into 2021. So rather than the inspirational, aspirational type Black History posts, this year I tried to focus on things that might get folks thinking about where they may have unconscious biases, where that may have come from, how we draw those lines between those dots. And those things tend to take you back in history, and you're talking about things that maybe weren't taught in school. And so that's what this was about. And then also, because of the pandemic, I can't travel. In past years, I go to DC or I go to Memphis, and my post has like context from a different place. We're kind of stuck in Connecticut. Erica ain't let me go nowhere. So I had to find stories that were relative to Connecticut. This story is one relative to, I won't tell the story. You guys can go look at the post if you like and share if you can. It's more or less about a slave in Connecticut who drowned back in 1798. And then his master at the time, who was a doctor, took his body, cut it apart, and used it for training other doctors, which were his relatives. And over the years, his bones were passed down. People were trained. He ended up in a museum. It's like a long history of how a person's enslaved for 60 years, and then they're used for monetary gain after death. And how the mind, the mentality of a people leading all the way up till 2013 could see that as appropriate and eventually come around to think, well, this isn't appropriate, right?
Right.
And he was eventually buried some 215 years after he died.
So they were. I just want to make sure I understand it right. They were using his bones like the skeleton you would see like in a classroom. Like
class.
if you think of like
Right.
this is a weird place for my head to go. So but like when I think of like when the Three Stooges would do their wacky classroom settings, and there was always a skeleton in the
That's right.
in the corner, right? That like I never gave any thought to like where that came from. Like I just assumed somebody donated their body to science, and
I always thought they were just like made of something, you know,
Right.
like a plastic mold. I know they weren't made of plastic, but in my head, that's
Right.
what that was. You know, I never. Yeah.
Right. So back at the particular time in Connecticut, it was very hard to get cadavers. I mean, there were certain rules, and so it was essentially illegal. But if you owned a slave, I mean, that was your property. So I mean, if they died or somehow something happened,
right,
you could do that. And doctors needed cadavers, and his slave died. And
and doesn't that really kind of like show you like the hypocrisy of that? It's like, oh, they're not the same as people, but when they're but their bones are identical, and we can use that for medical
There's
research.
There's a lot to unpack
to show
in
how
this.
to work on people.
Yeah.
Right.
Quote unquote.
Right. And then exactly. And then as you dive into the story, there's a lot of different context. I've been getting messages from all over the world, people who have seen this story, and they come at it from different angles, right? You could talk about the medical angle or how these people, people of color were perceived leading up into the 70s and into the 2000s, like how the perception of them. And so different people are coming at it with different thoughts of what it showed them about our society, how we may think. It's been wild. A lot of doctors have hit me up, medical professionals, and they've kind of used the story and kind of proliferating it within their industry. Educators. I had a woman who was the Connecticut Teacher of the Year in 2020. She hits me up. She's like, I'm from Connecticut. I never heard of this. So she's talking to me about it. Like, it's just been a wild experience. And in the end, this is what I wanted, but I didn't really expect. Like, I wanted the story to proliferate, and I wanted people to talk about it and come to a different understanding of where their thoughts and perceptions may be coming from that may align to unconscious type biases, and where there may be true systemic racism, right? So, and it just happened to be, you swing every year.
Right.
This time I actually hit the ball. I'm shocked. I hit it.
Yeah.
Run those bases.
No kidding.
Run now.
And I thought, just real quick before we move into Peloton stuff, I thought it was really interesting that it kind of shows you like society's evolution on the issue, right? Because it starts with like, well, let's not let a dead body go to waste, and we'll learn medical stuff from it. That seemed reasonable at the time, like right. And then eventually somebody was like, maybe this isn't so cool. And then he gets moved to a museum so people can hear this story and learn it, and that seemed reasonable at the time. And then eventually somebody's like, you pretty much just propped up a dead guy over here and put a plaque next to him. Maybe oh shit, maybe that's not so cool. And then they didn't know what to do, and they just put him in the basement for like 45 years. Right,
like every step was like a weird kind of thing, like the use for medical kind of training,
right?
And then the propping him up in a museum next to slave tools, right? And then he's there for 30 years, like, and then they go, that's not right. Well, let's put him in a box and throw him in the basement for another 30 years. Like, all of it makes you think, like, what?
It does.
Who are we? What are we thinking?
And it was also weird too, because at each step, it's like it's someone like trying to do the right thing, but still not. You know what I mean? It's
well, as you
really
said, it
odd.
shows
Yeah.
it shows that society is what society thinks is the right thing keeps changing, and so we keep moving the goalpost of what actually is right further, and we should, just to be clear.
Yeah.
And so we're getting closer.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
It's funny when I do these stories, you have these different angles, right? This one has kind of the gruesome, kind of maybe uncomfortable, piece to it. And from my perspective, it's intended to do that, and it's intended to make you think, and it's intended for advocates and people whose mindsets may not align to the fact that there is systemic racism and kind of unconscious type biases. It's intended for that group. Whereas in the past, some of the stuff I would post would be more intended for like, stuff I tell my daughter to inspire her or lift her and like what she could do or who she could be. So the one's very positive, and the other one's kind of, and so when Black History Month comes and you choose one of these sides, if you choose the, help steer mind side, you can get demonized. People can hit you up like, why are you being so negative?
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm talking to a different group of people. Right. Like, and so, it's a touchy thing.
Totally.
I got some people hitting me that way as well.
Sadly, I have no doubt. So,
well, John, I think you've been doing this long enough and longer than we've been putting this podcast out. But somebody's always got something to say about everything you do.
That they do.
No doubt.
Well, I think it was amazing. So thank you for
really
sharing.
Cool.
Very, very interesting.
I appreciate it. Follow up on the 22nd.
Yes, I can't wait for that because you've been hinting at it's another piece of the story. And I'm like,
I didn't know there was more.
Yeah. He said there's a lot more.
Oh, there's more.
Oh,
see?
I can't wait.
Part 2, February 22nd.
Yeah. Mark your calendars.
Definitely.
So moving into Peloton stuff, they announced that they're adding people to their Health and Wellness Advisory Council.
Yeah. So both of these people, so we've got doctors Heather Irobanda and Pooja Lakshman. And so they're both obviously doctors, but Dr. Irobanda is a board certified OBGYN and Dr. Lakshman is a board certified psychiatrist, but she specializes in perinatal psychiatry, which, can I just say, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was.
I didn't know either. But I mean, it makes sense. When I started looking at when they first announced the Health and Wellness Council back in September, it was neurologists and like cardiopulmonary
yes.
people. Like all 5 are people in that arena, which I guess makes sense. It's exercise. You want to talk about your heart and your veins and stuff. So that all made sense. This now it sounds like it's very geared towards what Robin had gone through, and folks some people were hitting her up negatively, right? They were like, "Why are you working out?" And I don't know if that's good for the baby. And now Peloton has brought in an OBGYN and this perinatal psychologist or psychiatry doctor, and which I think both of those things are intended to kind of speak to that topic. That's what I kind of got from it.
I would agree, because as you read on, it talks about like IVF and like some of their specialties that they deal with, and so that was part of Robin's story too, of not necessarily having an easy time getting pregnant. I don't know if she did IVF, but in general, that she didn't necessarily have a super easy time getting pregnant. And so you have that piece of it. You have the piece of like being healthy, exercising while you're pregnant, and then you have like all the programming, like what kind of programming for what people to cover. So right. I totally think you're right. I do think that's what it's geared for, and I think that's great. I love that.
Now, I think that's awesome. It aligns well.
It does align well. I'll be curious to see what Peloton does with this, because if they go down this road and they want to like make programming all the time instead of just like pieces of it, I'm thinking there will have to be more instructors added at some point. Like you can't just have one, like you can have a section of classes and be like, we're going to have these 10 prenatals and we're going to have these 10 postnatals. But if you want to keep fresh content,
right?
Robin already does the tread. She's already doing the bike. So like, there's only so much a person can do.
And they can't have the poor woman getting pregnant every time they want pregnancy class.
Exactly.
You're going to have to get pregnant here.
Chop, chop, Robin.
Yeah.
Come on now. You're not a team player.
But
Drew might be happy with that, though. Drew might be.
He might be. They might be like, hey, he might be like, hey, big family, let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go.
But if Robin doesn't want to, can you imagine being the one to tell her she has to?
Oh, no,
I don't think that's going to be a thing.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's not how it works.
Nobody on this planet gets paid enough to tell Robin no.
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 Well, it'll be interesting to see like what all that turns into.
It will. Yeah. I'm excited to see it.
And then also, so
you were all about controversy this week, John.
I know.
Controversy just coming at me from every angle.
So it's been well established that Biden has a Peloton.
Yes.
But it turns out that Kamala Harris does not.
Yeah.
But she does have a bike, but it's not a Peloton.
It is not.
So is this the now I haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention. Is this the unity thing they're all talking about? Is this what that means?
I was trying to write, when I read this, I was trying to write up a funny post about it without being political and not getting anybody to yell at me. I was struggling.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. I mean, just to be clear, the goal of this is not to be political. We're poking fun at that inside of one party there are two opposite sides of the exercise divide.
Right. So Kamala Harris was interviewed for this article, and she's talking about her routine or her workout routine now that she's in Washington. And talks about what she's doing now that she's there, what's different. And at the part of the article, she says, well, I get up in the morning and I do the elliptical. And then after that, I do Soul Cycle. And that just shocked me right there. Well, huh?
Say what now?
Wait, the president's over there. He's got the Peloton bike.
You all could share. Like it's
you guys talk about your workouts, and then you over there, huh?
Well,
I just found it humorous.
It is humorous. It is.
Well, especially with that's the one that's owned by the big if you go up the food chain of the conglomerate, it's owned by a big Trump supporter, right?
Yes, that is true.
So that
there's multiple angles of irony and humor in this.
Yes,
totally.
And we're gonna stop with that because I.
Yeah, because we could go a whole bunch of different
angles. We could.
But yeah, you would think that you would think Biden be trying to talk her into getting a Peloton because the Peloton people are so passionate. Not that SoulCycle people aren't, but
you would think Biden wants the referral code. Hello.
Touche. Well, I'm thinking, call me crazy. I don't feel like he's buying a lot of leggings.
Well, then maybe he wants to buy a pair for his wife. Maybe a pair of nice shorts. You don't know, Tom. You don't know.
You would think, though, that she would almost have to end up with a Peloton because, seriously, there's no joke coming here. I know sometimes it's hard to tell.
I don't know. Is it? I don't know.
He's like, I don't trust this bastard.
I don't know.
He's pulled this on me before.
The tip of his nose isn't pointed down. He gets.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to point.
I know. There it goes.
So I would think she'd end up with a Peloton just because if they're going to trick out his Peloton to be a secure exercise bike,
then make the same modifications.
Then they would just be like, you ride a Peloton too now. We're not doing this to a SoulCycle 1 2. Like, we're going to, once we figure out how to do one, that's the one we're going to do. Ooh. And now you ride a Peloton, deal with it.
I don't know.
That's the downside of being vice president.
I like that. Then what they need to do is set up a little local area network so they can just compete. Just the two.
Yes. And then we as home viewers, we can watch. I would love that. The first family cycle. The first and second family cycle.
Battling on the leaderboard.
Well, thank you so much for finding those stories and sharing them with us, all the Peloton ones and the non-Peloton ones. And until next time, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook in my Run Lift and Live page or my Run Lift and Live group. They can find me on Instagram, Run Lift and Live, or at runliftandlive.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Bye, Grandpa Shark.
Talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
So a new beta aspect popped up on, I guess, the iOS app?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it appears to be only the iOS app.
Okay.
And since it's beta, we can expect that it's here and going away, just to be very clear.
Okay.
But it is super cool. So you can go in and schedule, you can choose what classes you want from the live schedule.
Okay.
And put it on your schedule. And you can also choose on-demand classes and put them on your schedule. You can also share each of those classes individually with your friends. So you can let them know, hey, I'm taking this class in 30 minutes, want to join? Or you can post it on Facebook, I'm taking this class, want to join? And once you have them scheduled, you click on the schedule button and everything that you've scheduled shows up in your schedule.
Interesting.
And then you get reminders on your phone, hey, your class is getting ready to start.
That's pretty spiffy.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like this will turn into stacks being able to be sent to people eventually. That's just a guess. And then I also feel like this will be rolled out eventually to all platforms if the beta goes well, if people use it. You know, the best way to get a beta feature used or to come back is to use it a lot. So if you guys like it and you want to see it, tell all your friends, get them to use it too. And for all of you asking, yes, I'm sure Sessions is coming back. Like, I feel very confident about that. They're just making some tweaks to it.
And I guess while we're talking about that, we should talk about something Bob Treemore came across.
Yes, and it is directly related to Sessions, so that is great timing, Tom.
Thank you.
So Bob Treemore found this, as you said. It is a patent that Peloton has had out there. So apparently it's been out in the public domain for a while, but it is now approved.
Okay.
So it is a scheduling feature that is going to allow you to see your friends that are online. You're going to be able to schedule sessions, and you can also schedule private sessions. When I say private sessions,
it sounds a little dirty. I'm not going to lie.
Well, people keep interpreting that as they can request a private one-on-one session with an instructor.
Well, that's adorable.
Right. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I would love for that to be a thing, but
right.
I don't think it's at all
that
logistically possible.
Right.
So just to be clear, when I'm saying private sessions, the way I interpret that is not that you would be riding the bike, Tom, but hey, I'm going to do this ride. I'm inviting you. No one else can now join us riding this ride.
Right.
And it would be on demand only.
And that might be a great way as more and more celebrities
are
on there.
Yeah,
if they, if they wanted to share their leaderboard but not let people see what they're doing,
that's a good point.
They can just do private sessions.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So we will see what comes out of this, but I think that is a very cool thing. And obviously I don't know when it's coming, but we do know during the most recent earnings call, John Foley talked about things coming out soon.
Right.
And also, we do have Homecoming coming soon, and we know they're making announcements of some kind. So do with that what you will.
Yes.
Last year I thought there was going to be a big announcement and there wasn't. So
you never know.
I don't.
Peloton Stock Ticker.
What? A second stock ticker, Sweeper? That's craziness. We probably should have talked with John Mills about this, but
we
I
forgot.
stacked it weird. It's my fault. Well, because I don't have the bike. I'm not good at the stacks, right? I'm not good at stacking.
That's true.
So
that's true.
That's the price you pay. So Peloton did a public offering trying to raise $600 million.
Private offering.
Sorry, a private offering, which made a lot of people say, the hell?
Yes, they did. And they raised it to $850 million by the end of it.
Because in that New York Times article where John Foley talked about drinking water from his hand, he also talked about blowing his nose with $100 bills. So we're not quite sure, why do they need the money?
Yeah, well, and so if you scroll down, this article gives a pretty clear indication of why. Now, just so you know, we had a couple of people that reached out to, or that posted in the Clip Out group, and I think that they were right. One of them was Mike Kyle, one of them was Michael Jarenka, and both of them said that it's because of how low the interest rates are right now, that you would be, as a company, kind of dumb to not get debt super cheap right now.
Gotcha.
While you can. And that encapsulates everything that's said here. What they say in this article, a little more drawn out, is that they've committed, so they're generating $198 million in operating cash flow. So their cash flow after you take out their capital expenditures is down to $128 million from last quarter. So on the balance sheet, they had $2.1 billion, and they also have a $250 million revolving balance.
Okay.
It's undrawn, but we also know that they've committed $100 million to work on their supply chain.
Okay.
And that then they have money that's allocated. That money is allocated toward the freight and expedited ocean freight. The company, however, has been struggling to keep up with demand. We know that. And then you can scroll down. In addition to the freight cost, remember that Peloton announced in December it would acquire Precor, and that's another $420 million in cash.
Okay.
So that's going to obviously change everything going forward, how much they're able to keep up with stuff. But that transaction is expected to close soon, and it's going to take a while for Precor to ramp up. So the proceeds from the offering are going to cover the Precor acquisition and the investment into the expedited freight costs. So might as well do that on a very, very low return.
Gotcha. And I know some people were trying to posit that like, oh, they have all this, they're doing so well, but they're borrowing money. It must be bad. But one, if you're doing poorly, people don't want to participate in things like this.
And people fought.
And this thing sold out like, I mean, super fast. And that's why it went over, because they started at 600 million. It immediately got raised to 850 and it went over $1 billion. Yeah. I mean, I read a separate article that said that it sold out so fast that the public offering is being delayed in deliveries by 8 to 10 weeks. That's how long it will take you to get.
If only John was here to see the nose. But it went over cap, and John fully tweeted about it, how great of a job that they did. It was all like debt that people were bidding on, so it's not like it could be publicly traded. But somebody said, and I have no idea if this is accurate, I'm just going by what one person said. I did zero research, that once that debt is underwritten, it can then find its way to the marketplace. I don't know that that's true. I'm just telling you what one person said.
Gotcha. They'll sell it on the secondary market.
Yeah, I guess.
Like leopard print sports bras.
$750 a share.
Yes.
Per bra.
So the Peloton Tread this week arrived in Canada and in Allie Love's house.
It did, yeah.
Allie Love, a lot of people don't know this. She lives in Canada.
Yeah, she doesn't, but so she... I probably should have crossed that out. So this was posted in the Tread group, and not everybody's thrilled that Allie Love got a Tread before everybody else. But she did, and maybe she ended up in one of the zip codes. They said it was only going to be a few zip codes. Yeah. Maybe it's because she's an instructor.
And
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me that one of their instructors can get to the front of the line if you work there. Like, if I want to get concert tickets for where I work, I pay for them, but I'm sitting in pretty sweet seats.
That you are. I'm not sure I would post about it on social media, though.
That's fair.
But I have posted about our awesome seats, so maybe I would.
There you go.
But either way, lots of people are also very happy for her.
Yeah, totally.
So whatevs. It is what it is. But I think more importantly, the install dates on these treads have been fabulous, at least what was reported the first day.
Right.
So it was released on 2/9, and people that started messaging me, they were getting install dates on 2/13 through 2/17. They were thrilled.
Yeah.
Interestingly, if you go over to the UK and you look at their website, Tread shipments have now shipped. They've slipped by 2 weeks. So it was 4 to 6, and now it's 6 to 8. So come on, Peloton, keep it together.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately, though, I guess it seemed like the biggest problem wasn't even how long it was taking, but that it was taking that long, and then when it was your turn, you were told, oh, nope, sorry.
And that's still the big issue over in the delivery group. Those shipments are getting better. You're hearing a lot more positive stories, but the people that are still mad are the people that ordered in October and September. They still don't have their bike like today. That's a problem.
That would be frustrating.
Yeah.
I can't argue that.
I cannot. I can't either.
Islands.com had an interesting article about wellness, is how it's that's the big growth trend, I guess. And they were talking about gym fitness pods.
They were. And so if you're wondering where you want to go during your next vacation that we're all allowed to travel safely.
Right.
I feel like this is a really good place to put on your top 10 list, top 5, maybe top 3, my top list. It is
this your way of saying you want to go? Want to go there?
I do.
Okay.
It's in Hawaii. It is the Grand Wailea, and it's a Waldorf Astoria resort. they have not only Pelotons, but tonals.
How about that?
And they have pods so that when you work out, you're working out in a pod for the tonal at least.
Yeah.
And so when you're done, like you're in there by yourself. So you're sweating all alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're not breathing your nasty sweat everywhere.
Right.
Or exhalations because you don't breathe sweat.
Touche.
But you know what I meant.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty darn cool. So I'm just saying that we should probably go there. Plus it's gorgeous and it's in Hawaii. Like it's kind of a win-win-win.
It is nice looking. I will give you that.
So just saying. But I mean, Peloton and tonal. Hello. When
Peloton, tonals, and pods. We do all three of those things.
We do.
And then once again, Bob Treemore.
Bob's back.
Bob is back. Has an update about Peloton and Australia.
Yeah, so there's been lots of buzz about Australia lately, but this one is like pretty locked and loaded because Peloton, he was able to confirm, Bob was able to confirm that they have actually not only registered, but like there are build out plans happening in a very specific location in Sydney. So what do we know about that? We know that it's a showroom. I do not think that they are putting a studio there. There's nothing to indicate that. But my guess is they're going to be broadcasting out of either the UK or out of the US and being like broadcasting those classes to Australia on Australia time zones.
Gotcha.
Well, that is important because that will change the timing of rides for people. So we're going to get regardless of where they broadcast from, we're going to get a wider variety of classes.
Sure.
So that's pretty exciting.
And in Australia, you have to pedal the bike counterclockwise.
Well, don't do that because you will ruin your pedals. Do not listen to Tom.
I think that goes without saying at this point.
There might be some person out there. If we're attacking a Peloton commercial because of the baby crib thing, I feel like... Which I'm not disagreeing with person who's annoyed at me. But I just think that like for reals, we need to say you cannot pedal at least your Bike Plus backwards. I think it's okay on the regular bike. Anyway, though, very cool. And then did you see the message I sent you? Because right before the show, there was an update to it. I don't think you ought to open my messages here on the screen.
No.
Well, he had a list of more countries that were that Peloton has. They have put whatever this is, some kind of business plan in.
Right.
I don't know what they call that. A request to do business there? How does that work?
I don't know.
They followed for trademark, global IP trademark tracking. That's what this is. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Okay, so other countries, Israel, Switzerland, Mexico, New Zealand, Philippines, and Australia.
Interesting.
I thought so too. Australia was right up there. Mexico and Australia were both kind of next to each other timing wise. The other ones were requested before though. So like, don't feel like that's going to happen in any certain order because Australia was the last one.
Gotcha.
So, means nothing.
Alex Toussaint is celebrating 5 years at Peloton.
Yeah. So on Monday, he had his 5-year anniversary ride. I remember when I started at Peloton and the instructors had their 1,000th rides.
Right.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore because they have so many rides.
Yeah.
But 5 years. Like, first of all, that Peloton's been a thing. And second of all, that Alex has been there for 5 years.
Totally.
That's really, really cool. So congrats. And apparently during the ride, I didn't get to ride it live, but apparently there were tears from Alex.
Oh.
He was very emotional over it. So it's really cool.
And then it was revealed like just after we got done recording last week that Cody Rigsby has COVID.
Yeah. And so then on Sunday when we were doing our Clubhouse episode, somebody mentioned on Clubhouse that like he taught Sunday morning. So on Friday or Thursday when he posted, he was like, I'm sick as a dog. I don't know when I'm coming back. I'm canceling the next week of classes. And then he was back on the bike on Sunday.
Well, that's a fast recovery.
Well, he's had it for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Like
but to feel that bad on Thursday.
Totally.
But to
totally.
Up for teaching a class on Sunday.
And I think he still took it for Cody, took it pretty easy. Maybe not for me taking it easy, but for Cody, it was taking it easy.
Yeah.
And so he is, then he posted after the class, he's feeling a lot better. He's headed in the right direction. So yay.
Well, that's good.
Definitely.
And then speaking of stories that broke right after we got done recording, it also came out that Jess Sims is a Reebok brand ambassador.
Yay! Congrats.
I'm like surprised she didn't already have a deal like this in place with somebody.
Yeah, I guess because she was a teacher before she came to Peloton. Like I don't know the exact timeline, but
Right.
I don't know that she had enough time out on her own to get to that point. But either way,
Yeah.
so exciting for her.
Yeah.
I just love her. She teaches the best classes.
Well, I don't know if this is the right place to say this, but I've actually been working on my own deal, and I'm going to be it's
Like something with chicken nuggets.
with Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a brand ambassador. For
Are you going
Tyson
to
chicken
walk
nuggets.
around wearing like chicken nugget? You're going to be a chicken nugget billboard?
Yeah, they have special hoodies for me that have chicken nuggets on them, and
That actually would be really cool. Congrats, Tom.
well, it's not official. We're still trying to hammer out the details.
Well, you shouldn't talk about it until it's a done deal.
Oh man, I hope I didn't. Well, if it doesn't come to fruition now, we'll know why. It's because I jinxed the whole deal.
You did.
But you know what deal wasn't jinxed? DJ John Michael
Is engaged. To Brian King.
And should we tell people what I said when I found out?
Sure.
I was like, I didn't know he was gay.
I was like, where have you been?
I mean, I never gave it a thought one way or the other.
Yeah,
like I was just like, how about that?
I was just surprised because I follow him on social media. So if you follow him on social media, because of his pictures and his openness.
Well, and I don't do the Instagram.
That's true.
So
that's true. That's a good point.
So like, I was just like, oh, how about that? So here are some pictures for the people on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, those rings are gorgeous. Yeah,
they are nice. I remember when we got married, like nobody ever wants to see the guy's ring. I had one person
say, "Oh, that's a nice ring."
Say, "Let me see your ring," which was, and I thought this was fascinating. It was someone who was gay. It was like, I want to see you with your, and I was like, you're the only person who wanted to see my ring. So for the people.
You're missing the camera.
I
there
know.
It is.
So there it is for the people watching YouTube. There's my ring.
It just looks like you're flipping them off.
No, it's my ring finger. It's literally my ring finger.
But it's like, it's not solid. It's not.
It's not, the camera isn't zooming in very well.
There it is. Oh,
there we go.
Much
There's
better.
my ring. Yeah. So if anybody cares, nobody ever cares about the boy ring. So I'm glad they posted pictures of their rings.
I am too. I'm happy for them.
And congratulations.
They've been together a long time too. So that's really cool. It's really awesome.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
So back again by popular demand, Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. You may know her from VH1's Couples Therapy and with Dr. Jenn, or VH1's Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn. I know we do.
Yes.
We just pounded through I combined
anything we
6
missed,
seasons.
Anything we've missed, we are now completely caught up on. We have watched the whole thing.
The whole thing, beginning to end.
I love that. I love I get a text from Crystal. We need to talk about family therapy. We need to talk about we need to talk about this person. I'm like, absolutely.
I know whenever she wants to text you, we need to talk about family therapy or we need to talk about couples therapy. I'm like, you capitalize those words so she knows everything's okay here.
She instantly knows. Yeah. She just knows.
Oh, yeah.
So,
totally.
Where was I at in her intro? Long-running radio show with Dr. Jenn. 4 best-selling books. No more diet apps. Stuff like that.
She does everything.
And we should remind people, in case they're unfamiliar, a huge Peloton fan. Like she's not just here because she loves her Peloton, just like the listeners love their Peloton. That's how our paths cross.
Yes.
So, Dr. Jenn, hi.
My pleasure.
We are so happy to have you. And we have another question from our clip out group. This one is from Tracy Porisoff. Hope I am saying that correctly.
Tracy. That sounds right.
And Tracy asks, how do you push yourself when it's so easy to just get on the bike, get on autopilot, checking your emails, reading news headlines, etc.?
Oh, it's a very interesting question. And to me, the last part was the reveal.
Okay.
If you're on your Peloton and you're checking your news and your emails, then you're not allowing yourself to have that time for yourself. And when I first got my bike, because I got my bike before my tread, I remember like the doorbell rang for like a package, and I was like kind of annoyed that there was no pause button. And I know there's some talk now about possibly a pause button. I have very mixed feelings about it.
Same.
For the very reason that once I got on the bike, I realized I'm making a commitment to myself to see this through, and that like unless my bladder is going to burst, I'm not getting off this Peloton, like, or the house is on fire. Like, I'm not going anywhere, and this is my time for me. And it really helped make a boundary. And it sounds like this person needs to give herself the focus, and, you know, at the risk of sounding like a psychology cliche, the self-love to have this time to herself without the distractions of the news, which is very stressful right now, taking care of other people on her phone, like doing all these other things. That what I hope for her is that first that she can carve out that time to herself, that she can put her phone away, that she can, I'm actually in the process of making a sign to put on my door, like mom / partner is on the bike, like, please do not disturb unless the house is on fire. You may hear me laugh. You may hear me cry. I'm okay. It's like, just let me be. Like, because that time is so important. And Peloton is not therapy, it's therapeutic. And I think it's really important to have that time to take care of yourself and to focus on yourself. So that's the first part. The second part is if you feel like you're on autopilot, even once you put down your phone, then what you want to do is kind of check in and say, like, what do I need right now? What is the best possible self-care? We're in a pandemic. People have enormous stress right now. There's a lot of financial insecurity, just a lot going on, you know. So for one person, actually being on autopilot may be good self-care. But if you feel that it's not, and you feel like, you know what, I really want to grow, I want to get better endurance, I want to get stronger, I don't want to just coast, then I think you need to look at what's holding you back. What's holding you back from pushing yourself a little further? Does it make you feel anxious? Are you worried that you're going to let yourself down? Are you being a perfectionist where you are feeling like, well, once I open that door, it's Pandora's box. And if I start pushing myself, that maybe I'll go too far, maybe I'll disappoint myself. Really look at what is holding you back and what's preventing you from pushing yourself harder. You know, there are some people who need to push themselves less. And we took a question from someone the other day that really was pushing way too hard to the point where she was going to burn herself out. And I think on the opposite end of the spectrum, someone like this who's just going on autopilot needs to look at, is this in my best interest? What is in my best interest? And if I want to be able to improve my endurance and my strength and my flexibility, what do I need to do to accomplish that? And I think it's very okay to have some days where you just coast. I think sometimes those days are actually really important. And sometimes we need to kind of coast in order to take a big leap, because our bodies kind of almost need that break to kind of catch our breath. And then the next day you get like a PR. So I think that really looking at what is in the best interest of you physically and emotionally, and given the circumstances that we're in a pandemic in these bizarre times, what is the best self-care? And if you find that you answer those questions and you're not able to push yourself, then you may want to do some self-exploration and even, you know, some therapy of like, why am I not taking better care of myself? What's holding me back from accomplishing what I want? What is preventing me from doing the best possible self-care for myself?
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah. So much to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And before we let you go, remind everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, everything on at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jenn, 2 N's on Man. And I post all of my Peloton workouts on my Insta stories.
Awesome. Thank you.
Peloton in the news.
Yahoo Finance is reporting that Peloton will be participating in the Goldman Sachs Technology and Internet Conference, and I kind of dozed off reading that.
Well, what really matters is that
it has the word SAC in the title. That's the only thing that kept me awake. I was about to nod off, and I was like, SAC? Oh, Technology and Internet Conference.
on Thursday, February 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Attending for Peloton will be John Foley and Jill Woodworth. You can catch the presentation on the webcast live, and afterwards, it will be archived for 90 days.
Okay.
So you can check it out.
The Washington Post had an interesting article. Peloton makes toning your glutes feel spiritual, but should Jesus be a part of the experience?
Did you read this?
No.
Well, it's Washington Post, so I didn't even have access to it. But I gathered from other people, and it is just gathering, that this was a conversation and maybe a little criticism about the Sundays with Love.
Gotcha.
And so some people felt like they should branch out a little bit. It shouldn't just be based on Christian tenets.
Now, so it's not actually Christian, but it's obviously like she's Christian, and so it has that flavor, even if she's not explicitly saying Jesus.
I had one person explain to me that they felt like it was Sunday school.
Okay.
And that's why it feels Christian to them.
Gotcha.
I am not saying that's accurate because honestly, I've taken this class one time,
right,
and it was the very first one. And so I don't know what it's like now because I haven't done it since then. I don't feel like I can speak to that.
Yeah.
I have had a lot of people weigh in on this. Some people love it and they think it's great. Some people feel it's a little too, like I said, Sunday schoolish. Some people feel like it really should kind of embrace more. It should more obviously embrace other religions. I don't know. I'm just telling you what people say.
Yeah, and it seems to me that there's so many other classes. To me, it's just another version of when someone says, "I don't like country music," or "I don't like DJ rides," or like, not to bring the Lord into it, but Jesus, there are so many other rides. Go take one.
Well, and there's certainly that aspect of it too. I heard a lot of people saying that as well. So I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of different religions, that ride at Peloton.
Absolutely.
And I will say that I tend to talk to, and I feel weird speaking like for other people, but I tend to talk to a lot of people who are Jewish, and I get that perspective a lot. And that perspective kind of is, well, when we do holiday rides, it's all Christian holiday or secular holiday. You're not really celebrating Hanukkah or any of the other religions. I mean, there might be one song here and there,
right, but
it's not the same. So like, I think some people might feel like you're kind of ignoring these very large groups that live within your.
For me, and I know it doesn't matter since I don't ride the bike, but for me, it's like I don't think the problem is the existence of her class as much as it's the lack of existence of other ones.
That was definitely my take. I mean, that's everything I'm hearing. That's the people who are irritated by it. That's the general take. Like, they're not upset those classes exist. They would just like something a little more geared toward them.
Yeah.
Then again, where do you stop too? I mean, I don't have an answer for that either. So
yeah,
because maybe other teachers maybe other instructors don't want to teach those classes.
That could be. I will also say, like, if you look at historically through the rise of electronic media, putting on my mass communications hat here, I don't get to do it very often. That's what I got my degree in, and it's pretty much worthless. So allow me to show off a little bit. But you really don't see other religions going down this road. Like you don't see like rabbis having TV shows on Saturday mornings the same way you see pastors having TV shows on Sunday mornings, or and I'm not saying there's absolutely no example of it, but like certainly not to the degree that you do, and you don't really see it with Muslims, or it kind of almost feels unique to Christianity. So
that's a good point.
I think to some degree it's also kind of not in the DNA of those religions in quite the same way to go on television, to go on the radio and have a service or what have you.
Right. And so if I hear you correctly, you're like, it just doesn't occur to people to focus on it in that way.
Yeah.
Like
it's my guess,
yeah.
but I don't know. It's an interesting debate.
It is. Absolutely.
See how many letters I get about that.
I know. You'll
Also,
probably get some examples. And again, we just want to clarify, we're not saying there's no examples. We're saying it's just not as many.
It doesn't proliferate in quite the same manner.
Do you know how many Apple TV shows I've heard about since you said there were no Apple shows that people know about in the same way that people know about Netflix? And I still haven't watched a one.
Yeah.
Not because they're not good. We are in the middle of a lot of shows. We don't change well.
We don't.
Not to Apple. Look how long it took, guys.
Baby steps.
Checking out the competition.
So there's been some updates in the Peloton versus Echelon lawsuit.
Yeah, so at first, whenever B. Sweetlow put this out, she thought that this was a brand new lawsuit, and I pointed out to her, like, hey, there's already a lawsuit. But the date was confusing because it was February 5th. So,
right.
So she kind of looked into it, and she found that it looked as if Peloton had dismissed all claims related to 2 patents that had been asserted against Echelon on February 5th. Echelon then agreed to dismiss their related counterclaims, and her take on this was that it left 1 patent left that they have claims on.
They're still fighting over.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So she's going to dig into that some more and let us know, but that is where we stand at this moment.
Awesome. And, we talk about different competitors a lot. Echelon comes up all the time. Here's one I feel like we haven't heard much from.
That's true.
And it's Beachbody is going to become publicly traded.
Not only are they going to become publicly traded, they're merging. This is a very interesting thing because they're merging with Forest Road Acquisition Corporation and Mix Fitness. So Mix is the bike that John has mentioned often, John Mills, and he's talked about that they're like anti-Peloton. They're the ones that are like, we don't want any of that social crap on here. And it's the white bike it's the only one that looks really different from what Peloton is doing.
Huffy.
Kinda. And then I don't remember what Forest Road is doing, but now take all of that. There's a merger and they're going to become publicly traded. So they're kind of joining forces. And the interesting thing is I've never thought of any of these as competitors. Not really.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like they want to create some sort of platform and that does a lot of different things the way Peloton has evolved into. And so you can do the class, Beachbody can do the off bike stuff and then Mix will bring the bikes. You know what I mean? That sounds like that's what they're trying to create.
It does, but I'm really curious how they're going to go about this for a couple of reasons. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but Beachbody also has a nutrition like a whole line that they sell, and it is most assuredly an MLM product.
Gotcha.
Like most assuredly.
Gotcha.
They are. Not everybody who sells for them is aggressive, but there are a lot of people that are super aggressive. And just to be clear, the Beachbody fitness programming, I had it for about a year, and I actually really liked their programming. They have good content, Tony Horton and P90X and all that stuff. Like it all came from Beachbody, and they're an amazing company. I just never really thought of them as doing anything that's like technically really a competitor for Peloton because their content is all about like not putting new workouts. It's like, here's this workout set. Here's this set of workouts. Do this for 28 days or do this for 60 days and you're going to see results. Now go buy our new one, or go get another one from streaming.
Right.
And so to me, that's not really apples to apples what Peloton is doing.
Right.
I don't know what they'll do going forward. I find the whole thing very interesting, though.
Yeah, it will be interesting to watch. Moving along, Equinox is partnering up with Whoop and Apple Health to give you a hyper-personalized workout routine. So from my general perusing of this, it sounds like...
Oh, good, you read it.
A little bit. It sounds like they're trying to use Whoop or Apple Health to integrate with Equinox, and so it can kind of curate classes like, oh, here's what you've been doing, here's what you should continue to do, or here's what, Is it basing it off of like your recovery score and things like that? I think so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it says by linking Equinox with your Whoop, it provides a red, yellow, or green recovery score every morning. And then with the addition of these new next level connected experiences, members will better understand what workout they need that day, even if it's not the one they thought they wanted to do. So maybe you were going to do Soul Cycle on the Soul Cycle at Home bike, but when you wake up, you didn't sleep so well, so you should do a pure yoga class later instead. Interesting. Yeah. So it's an interesting concept. To me, it sounds a little bit more like a gimmick than a true benefit.
Yes, I would agree. I would. And I love my Whoop. Like I'm wearing it right now, just to be clear. But the thing is that I think you can, I mean, the whole point of it is that you can kind of do that on your own. I mean, maybe people who are beginners don't know that. I don't know. But like if you have a recovery score that's real shitty, you should not be doing a hard workout. And that's what the red, yellow, and green mean. Like I feel like that kind of already tells you that. Like, like it's not too hard to extrapolate from that piece of information and what you should be doing that day. Right. And like and I would say to their curating, you could still do a class that day, but maybe you do like an endurance class, not a hit it hard class, you know? So I mean, you could still ride, but ride in zone 2, not zone 5. Yeah. So I don't know. Just my take on it. I agree. You said it perfectly. Gimmick instead of actual pure benefit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peloton Celebrity Sightings.
So Lizzo was spotted on a Peloton Tread this week.
She's so funny.
I guess a Tread Plus, we should say.
It is a Tread Plus. Yeah. No red line. And also, she kind of started a little bit of a challenge because she's singing while she runs.
Oh.
And so some of the other instructors started kind of catching on. I saw Kristen McGee did a 60-minute run, and she was trying to sing, and she was like, no.
Well, and I think she called out Miley Cyrus in a friendly way.
Yeah, it started with Miley. That's right, yeah.
and I'm not super up on my Lizzo, but has she lost weight? Is it just the angle? She looks a little thinner here.
I think so, but honestly, this sounds terrible. She has too much clothes on for me to tell accurately.
It's not like you're seeing her in concert.
Right.
Yeah, when we saw her in concert, we had to see
there were less
more
clothes, so I could more accurately tell. It's hard. Honestly, it's got one of those fisheye angles, so it's kind of hard.
It's coming at it from a weird angle, so it's hard to gauge. But she does look like she's lost a little bit. So
I agree with you. It's just hard to say for sure. Yeah. But either way, you know, she's very body positive. So.
Absolutely. And my guess is she's about fitness, not necessarily about weight loss.
Yes.
And I find it hard to envision her wanting to get down to 100 pounds.
I
agree. What I mean? Like maybe she does. If she does, that's her call. It's just that's my gut says that she's more just about being healthier, not necessarily about being a stick.
I could see that.
And then finally, the Ben Aldis AMA went so well that it looks like Reddit's doing another one with country music superstar Chase Tucker.
Or tread instructor Chase Tucker, who, by the way, is super active over on the Clubhouse.
Yes, he is.
Super active. Even popped in our room the other day.
Yeah, he didn't come up and talk, which is fine, but it was nice just to have him in the room listening to people.
Yep, absolutely. So make sure that you get a chance to check that out if you like to visit the Reddit.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
So joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Torrey from Peloton Closet. Hey, Torrey.
Hi. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited about this. I think people are going to be very excited when they hear what we're going to talk about. So I was going to do this in a different order, but since we introduced you as Torrey from Peloton Closet, we have to start with what is Peloton Closet.
Yeah. So Peloton Closet is my Instagram account where I search for all of the outfits that your favorite Peloton instructors are wearing. So I'm combining my love of fashion with my love of Peloton, and it has been a fantastic marriage. And much to my surprise, a lot of people have responded. I thought when I started it, I would have, like 3 girls I knew and 5 people from Reddit. And I'm closing in on 5,000 followers 6 weeks into this project. So It has resonated. And you better believe I don't have 5,000 friends. So it's, resonated with people in a way that I did not expect.
Oh my God, it resonates with me.
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't resonate with me, but it's not designed to, but when Crystal told me about it, I was like, well, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I had not come across your Instagram account yet. And Gina Mitchell, one of our listeners, who's a good friend of ours, she immediately was like, this is fascinating. And I was like, well, it sure is.
So
awesome.
That's great. I'm just curious, like how does that work? Do you do reverse image searches?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Have like some sort of Rain Man like superpower where you just know exactly?
I mean, there's so many fitness brands out there.
Yeah. Okay, let me just say, I'm really good at shopping. Some people are amazing bakers, and some people can pick stocks and make a fortune, and some people promote world peace, and I can shop. So that's, I'm going with what God gave me. And it's a combination of all those things. I spent a lot of time on the internet, especially during COVID, with kind of the number of activities that I normally engage in curtailed quite a bit. I like to shop on the internet and see what's out there. And definitely, Tom, there have been moments where I have that Rain Man thing where I just stare at a sports bra and I'm like, that's PE Nation. Again, see, you know what? I'm going with what God gave me. I wish I had some other skills, but that's what I have.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been known to stare at a sports bra, but I've never made that connection. I normally just like, why do my ribs hurt? And I realize it's because Crystal is punching me.
Well, you might not want to admit that you're staring at a sports bra, Tom.
I just do it for comedic effect.
He does. He's actually not at all like that.
That's just fascinating to me. So and a lot of times you can just look at an item and just be like, I know where that's from.
It starts to become familiar, just like, I assume that both of you, have wardrobes, and there are certain styles that you like. And, when you look in your closet, you probably have a good number of items from, whether it's Banana Republic or, name any kind of manufacturer. That's, your personal style. So like a good chunk of your wardrobe is going to be from a certain place. And as I start to follow the instructors more closely, I sort of start to know, okay, if it's Allie Love, she's tending to wear a certain brand. So I'm not looking necessarily for that needle in a haystack. Many of them either have a brand deal, so they're wearing, to some extent, clothing from different manufacturers that they partner with, or they just have like a personal style. And so it's not as hard as it could be if it was just sort of like an infinite universe.
Sure.
It's a more limited universe of items for many instructors. There's some who give me a really hard time.
Wait. Who gives you a hard time?
I would say one of my absolute favorites, Jess Sims.
Oh, yeah. Because she shops from everywhere.
She is all over the map. She doesn't seem to have a particular favorite brand. She'll just like wear anything. And I couldn't love her more, but I wish she could be a little more consistent because she's tough. And there are certain pieces that I've been just looking for forever and I haven't found.
Wow.
So.
Interesting. And backing up a little bit, I thought it was how polite is she when she pretended like I have some sort of style.
I know.
Yeah,
I was like, no, he doesn't.
I don't.
It's which hoodie is he wearing?
Which hoodie am I wearing today?
Right.
My style is pretty much like, well, I can't wear the Universal Studios hat with the Disney World hoodie. Like it's like Garanimals for nerds.
He does have matching sneakers, though, so
We all have to start somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's where I end. That's as far as I'm going to get. So, so do you do the men too, or is there not as much of a demand for that?
At this point, about 98% of my followers are female, and majority of the requests I get are for female fashion. But I am I'll shop for anybody.
Sure.
I have been getting a handful of more male fashion requests, and I love our Peloton male instructors. Many of them tend to sort of stick to the Peloton branded items or like a Nike short, an Adidas top.
Right.
So they're not as, let's say, fashion forward necessarily. Now, Cody, I take it all back. He is rocking the looks. So he is an outlier amongst his peers. And I have found some really fun things that, he's a little bit more of a fashion plate. He just got a brand deal with Adidas. So I imagine we'll be seeing more Adidas on him coming up. And Adrian has a shoe thing. So definitely his sneakers are like off the hook. He really does a lot with that. So, but for the most part, the majority of items that people ask me about and the majority of items that are kind of fun for me to post about are on the female instructors.
And that makes sense. I think especially from the end user, I think most men, when it comes to that sort of stuff, when it comes to their workout clothes, they're more function over form.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, obviously there are exceptions.
Sure.
We're not trying to insult any men out there who have their fashion down.
We love those guys. And I hope more of them will enter into the Peloton studio and enter into the Peloton Closet.
So do you have a favorite instructor to follow their style?
Oh my gosh, it's like picking a favorite child. I have to say, I respect Jess King so much for just letting it fly. She really is, she's an entertainer. And I think she's not just promoting fitness, but she's promoting an experience, and her clothing really adds to what you're seeing on the screen. It's about her looks just as much as her music and her words and the exercise. So she is so fun. So I really respect what she's doing and how she's making clothing part of her brand. She's working with a really cool designer coming out of Texas who was on Project Runway. And so when you see all of those cool looks, they're often designed by this woman, Brittany Allen. She was like 2 seasons ago on Project Runway, and, really outrageous stuff, really fun. And it's very cool to see Jess using her platform to promote someone who's doing, really innovative things with fashion. So she's definitely a favorite, but I'm not going to commit to just one favorite. How about that?
Okay. So then on the flip side, is there anybody where you're like, what are you thinking?
Oh, no. I will say, I think that each instructor, and what I love about Peloton and taking classes with Peloton is that there's so many different kinds of teachers, and everyone has their own style and what they bring to the table. I would say that Jenn Sherman is someone who really, I think we all know, like her, she's kind of that Jersey girl. She's all business. She wears, I think 99% of the things that she wears are from the Peloton apparel line. Mm-hmm. She's not, she is as different as it can be from an instructor like Jess King, who is using fashion as part of her brand. I think Jenn Sherman's brand is very much like, just put on an outfit and like get her done. And I totally respect that. But she's also not appearing on my page as much.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to kind of fast forward back to Peloton since we'll dabble in some more Peloton Closet questions. But
of course.
How did you originally find Peloton, and how long ago was that for you?
Like, do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yeah, I
do. Okay. So, I'm an early adopter of the sort of the boutique fitness and the celebrity, fitness instructor world. I'm kind of old, but I'm really immature, so it's cool. But I grew up in the 80s, in a teenager in Los Angeles, and we were unironically wearing the spandex and the leg warmers, and I went to one of what I think is sort of the model for the very first type of boutique fitness and celebrity fitness, which was the Jane Fonda workout in Beverly Hills, California. Wow. And took classes with probably the instructor who, at least in Los Angeles at the time, was like the prototype of what a Peloton instructor is today. It was this guy, Richard, very famous. He got a brand deal with Reebok. It was a big deal. All the mommies were, taking his classes because he was super cute. I mean, he was, the Cody of 1984. He later testified in the OJ trial, which is like the ultimate cachet in Los Angeles. So, although he testified for OJ, so I don't know what that did for his career.
Okay.
But, that was sort of my origin. And I've definitely followed all the trends in fitness since being a teenager at that time. And whether it's, the hot yoga, Barry's boot camp, I ran marathons, I dabbled in Zumba. So if there's something like fun and trendy to do in the fitness world, that's me. And I ended up injuring myself and having to stop running and stop Barry's. So I was like 99% SoulCycle. So really into spin, super fun. I had to give away like 50 items of SoulCycle clothing once I went full Peloton. So I was all Soul. And, one thing I noticed was that I'd bump into people and I'd say, hey, I haven't seen you at Soul in a while. What's up? And I kept hearing, oh, I got a Peloton. Oh, I got a Peloton. So it was like in the back of my mind. And then what got me to pull the trigger on getting a Peloton, and this was pretty recently, like November of 2019. So I'm new to Peloton.
Okay.
But I worked in, one part of my job was crisis communications. Mm-hmm. And I was, which is like really stressful. And I was dealing with crisis communications about like a particular, let's say, scandal. You can call it what you want, but, ironically, it just so happened that the individual who was part of this situation was on my same schedule at SoulCycle. So I was going to work out to like de-stress from dealing with this whole situation. And I had my bike and this person had their bike, and like, no shade, you know what? Everyone should work out and everyone should feel good. But I was going in part to like, just forget about the situation, forget about the stress. And I had, I was on bike 29, it's, on the side, and this person was front row, and I literally could not get them out of my vision.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what am I doing? And so between hearing about it from all my friends and then sort of not getting what I wanted from the SoulCycle experience because I was getting more annoyed than relieved, I just pulled the trigger, and I didn't even ride the bike. I just walked into the place and bought it.
That's awesome. What a unique tale.
Yeah. That is the first time I have ever heard that story, and I've asked that a lot.
Totally. And just backing up real quick, the boutique fitness craze, the Jane Fonda workout, was actually invented by a woman named Lenny Kasdan, and it's a riveting story. And if anybody wants to find out more about it, there's a podcast that I love. It's a nerd podcast because it's like pop culture stuff, but it's called Decoder Ring. And each week they'll tackle a different like pop culture thing and basically ask, why does this exist and why do people care? So one week they'll do Cabbage Patch Dolls, the next week they'll do truck nuts. Like, you never know. But they did a 2-part thing about the history of the Jane Fonda workout and where it came from, and they interviewed Jane Fonda and Lenny Kasdan at the same time, first time ever, and there's quite the turmoil behind the creation of the Jane Fonda workout, and like, I think everyone knows how much I care about working out, which is like not at all, and it was riveting from beginning to end. So
I'm going to listen to that because I was there like in situ when it was happening. Yeah. I was right there in that studio, loving every minute.
And like in younger people, I just turned 50, so I remember like the height of that craze. But a lot of younger people, they don't really realize like how huge the Jane Fonda workout was. It was just. It invented an industry.
It did. Yeah.
So
wow.
Anyway, I just wanted to put that plug in there, and because it was fascinating. I thought people would. No,
totally. I'm glad you did. Yeah.
I have a question.
I'm going to give it a listen. So
I have a question about your job with crisis management. So, are you always in a panic? Like, are you always in a crisis? Is like, because like most people need a crisis manager if they're doing things properly once, maybe maybe twice. But like if it's your job, you're just rolling from crisis to crisis to crisis. Like how? Like
you need to de-stress.
How do you sleep at night? That sounds.
So let me clarify that I am no longer doing that job.
Okay.
And it was a piece of my job, but it was, anytime that's a piece of your job, that's like not the fun part of your job.
Sure.
And it's extremely stressful. And I had sort of like 4 crises back to back. Like I wasn't supposed to become a specialist in crisis management. It just happened. Like I was wrong place, wrong time, I guess. But I was, it was definitely a lot. It's hard to escape. It just stays in your mind all the time. And you're like super tense, which was why I kept going to Soul Cycle and like getting on my bike and trying to sweat it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you needed your space from whoever that was.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking of the show Scandal.
Sure, how can you not? Right? Like, yeah. If she said she worked at if she said she was a surgeon in Korean War,
I would think
of the show MASH. So like that's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not a line of work I was intending to go into. It came to me.
Okay.
I didn't come to it.
Yeah. I think that would almost
no longer in that line of work. So.
I would think it would almost have to work that way too. I don't think you could be like,
I would like to manage crises. You never know.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, like I have at it. But it's not fun for me. It was not like the fun part of my job.
Yeah.
So if you've transitioned away from that, do you like have a full-time job now? Do you do something like, are you just at home? Because I don't know.
No, I work in communications and marketing. Okay. I have a full-time position. And I actually posted about this a little bit on Peloton Closet. I have just recently transitioned from one job to another. Cool. And while I was interviewing, one of the questions I got was, because I'm making kind of a big change. And one of the people said, how do you plan to do this? Like, is this going to be hard? What do you think? And I channeled again, like my muse, Jess Sims. And I said, I can do hard things. So I credit her with helping me get this new gig.
That is awesome. I love that. What a great story. Yeah. Does Jess Sims know this? Has she heard that?
I don't think so. So we're not in touch, but I would love to be.
Yeah, we need to make that happen. I think she would really love that. That's great. Okay, so then now going back to Peloton Closet, so you said you get a lot of custom requests, like so people now has this been like since before you started Peloton Closets that people just knew you shopped, you had friends, or was this like once it started, people started reaching out to you and they were like, I want that bra or I want those pants?
Yeah. Well, it all started because I took Robin's turkey burn with a couple girlfriends. And so like this is just this past, November 2020. And we were texting afterwards. And one of my girlfriends said, I love those houndstooth leggings that Robin's wearing. They're so cute. And I said, oh, well, those were in Peloton apparel. They sold out in a hot second, but I've done a deep dive and I found a dupe at Carbon 38. It's the Takara Shine houndstooth legging. And I just texted her link and she was like, oh my gosh, thank you. That's so cool. And I texted back. I said, I was thinking maybe I should like start an Instagram just where I could do this for fun. And everyone started texting back, do it. That's amazing. And that's my origin story.
I love it.
That's awesome. So you're doing these all by yourself? You don't have like a team of people behind the scenes? It's just you every day?
It's just me. Yeah. I mean, I would love to be at a point where I've, got a bunch of people doing my bidding, but
we all?
I was like, that's the dream.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I have a day job. I'm pretty committed to my career, and this is just something I'm doing for fun. I mentioned, like, I literally thought this would just be a little thing I dabble in for a handful of people, and the fact that 5,000 people have responded and it seems to be growing. I'm going to have to figure out some better ways to manage my time. And, I haven't monetized. I'm not, I didn't start this thinking like, oh, I can really like make a buck finding instructor clothes. So that's something that, might come in time.
Okay.
Sure.
But
awesome.
Not the reason I started.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
And I found, because I feel like we're in a similar situation that, we started this because she loved Peloton.
It's a labor of love.
Nobody sat down and were like, we'll start this and we'll make money off of it. And we do.
Right.
Now it's making a little bit of money, but mostly gets poured back into making it easier for us to make more of these.
Right. So like you, we still can keep that day job.
Right.
Right, exactly.
But I think that's the best kind because it's so genuine, right?
If you start from the vantage point of I want to do this to make money in an endeavor like this, like I just feel like that shines through.
It does. I totally agree. I think there's a lot of people out there trying to make a buck off Peloton, and it shows.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, for me, I've seen where, some brands, like, I don't know, I've never heard of them, have reached out to me and said like, oh, hey girl, do you want to be an ambassador? That sort of like high hen type of DM that you get.
Yeah.
And that does not resonate for me. I would only want to work. And I think I'll have the luxury because this is not my source of income, and it's, you've got to make a deposit before you can take a withdrawal. So I'm just doing this for fun. But my plan is, if I have the opportunity to work with some brands, it's going to be ones that I would wear, that I feel good about,
right.
And it's going to be genuine. I would never just like hawk something for money. And I hope that the people who follow Peloton Closet know that they can trust what I promote. And, I'm not going to say buy this sports bra because they're paying me.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's exactly how we take it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I've gotten those emails too, and I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, I'm just like, nah, that's a quick buck that just would bite you.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have your boundaries and what you love, because again, that shines through. So I think that you will be very successful with that, taking that approach. But like, just to be clear, you only do this on Instagram, nothing on Facebook, right?
I do have a Facebook account. I've just kind of started to realize, it makes sense to be on both platforms. And so I've been spending a little bit more time on Facebook, but for right now, Instagram is my primary channel.
Okay. Well, just so you know, there's about 2 million Peloton groups. And so if you start digging in over there, let us know and we'll give everybody the link, because a huge majority of Peloton users are on Facebook and not on Instagram. It's a really odd amount how many are on Facebook, not Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I have a Peloton Closet I'm the same name everywhere. I'm Peloton Closet on Facebook. I'm Peloton Closet on Instagram. I'm Peloton Closet on the bike. So, as I said, I come from a communications background. Consistency is really important.
You're like, I've got that down.
It's Peloton Closet. Anywhere you choose to find me, that's where I'll be.
Okay.
And but I definitely realized that there's like some untapped gold on Facebook. So I'll probably be spending more time there.
Awesome. Now, what about your favorite instructor to ride with? Who's that?
Oh my gosh. Again, like so many. I'm a huge, I go back to Jess King. I do the Jess King experience every Thursday. I'm a big music person. I did her whole music festival set, that whole series. So fun. Who else? I love Ben. This morning, I just did the no, it wasn't Ben. Matt Wilpers did the Tiesto ride. And then I did Ben's Tiesto, the strength class. So it was like a double Tiesto day. And I also love Ben as an instructor. I started with Allie. I think she's like the entry instructor for everyone probably, or for a lot of people. She's so recognizable. And Robin is so inspirational. I love everything about her. So
awesome.
Those are a few favorites, but
okay.
I'll try anyone. Oh my gosh, Tunde. I can't leave Tunde out. She's a queen. She is a queen. So, yeah.
She's amazing for sure. Now, what about like the content? Do you stick pretty much just to the bike? I heard some strength in there. Do you do any of the yoga, the bar, anything like that?
Yeah, I did bar for years and years, and so I love the Peloton bar classes. I did a whole bunch of them in September, and I hear, and maybe you guys can enlighten me, but I hear March for new classes.
March is when it's happening. Yep, definitely.
That's awesome.
Yes,
very cool.
Yes, yeah. That'll be
so
great. And then I'm sure they're going to be coming out with more of the Pilates too. I'm sure those will be coming, and then of course sessions need to come back. So they always have so much going on, and so now you live in LA still?
I'm in Southern California.
California.
Not LA proper. But
okay.
Yeah.
And
for us, it's all LA.
Right.
Okay, yeah, just say LA then.
We're in St. Louis, so there's like LA, San Francisco, and then everything else in California.
Okay,
That's the way it works,
LA is good.
And then, so now, are you familiar with the homecoming that Peloton does? Since you're pretty new, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I've heard about it. So obviously, the first one that I would have had awareness or interest in was during COVID. So that didn't that didn't happen. I actually, like, the last time I traveled anywhere was in February of 2020, and I was in New York City, and was hoping to take a class in the studio, and I didn't get it together. It was a pretty quick trip, but I walked by, I did the paid homage to the mothership. So once I get to travel again, definitely that is on my bucket list.
Awesome. That'll be great. It's a lot of fun, so I hope you can make it.
Yeah.
It's ironic. The last time I traveled was in February, and it was to LA.
Yeah.
Cool. It was probably a lot warmer than when I was in New York.
Yes, I'm sure.
That's safe to say. Okay, so do you have any advice for people who are just getting their bike or getting their tread, getting involved in fitness?
Yeah, I think just being open, is so much fun, and being open to all of what makes Peloton special, whether it's the breadth of different instructors, whether it's just high-fiving some random person, or, like you indicated, I'm a big Reddit person. So I joined the Peloton Reddit community, and I get so much great information there. And I think that really enhances it. So the more you do, the more you get back. Wow. And then on the fashion side, I think I had a friend say to me, it's so strange that people would want to buy these outfits to sit in their house and work out by themselves.
That's what Tom says all the time.
I've heard that said a time or 10.
And Crystal, you tell me what your take is on this. My take is, when I was going to Fairies, Soul, Hot Yoga, you name it, wherever I was going out in the real world, I'm a little more self-conscious about what I have on and what people, are going to think. And is this age appropriate? And I'm not 20. So my stomach maybe doesn't look, with the perfect six pack if I'm not wearing a tank or whatever. But working out in the comfort of my own home, I let it fly. If I want to wear mermaid leggings and a sparkle sports bra, I'm going to wear it, and nobody has anything to say. And it's been actually freeing and super fun. And I think has gotten me out of a comfort zone or out of self-consciousness and into more just being myself and having so much more fun with it.
I don't really think of it in those exact same terms, but I think I have a similar reaction to it, because I like to see the fun colors. I like to see, it energizes my entire workout. If I feel good about what I'm wearing and I just got a new outfit, it's I know I'm only showing it off to my bike or my tread. I don't care.
Or me.
I don't let as many things fly as you are comfortable doing, because I take a lot of selfies and nobody needs to see that. So
I mostly do legging selfies. So when you can't see anything above the waist, it's it's all good.
Yeah, but I love all the colors, and I love finding stuff that I love, and I love seeing the stuff that the instructors are wearing. I really like how Robin puts things together, because when she did a thing on Instagram, it was all like for her Adidas closet, and she like had everything. I was so blown away by the way that she would like take something randomly and then put it with this pair of shoes. And I would never think to do that. And I've said before that like I would have to go buy each individual item exactly as she did it. And it wouldn't be me because that's Robin. But like, I love all of those things the way she puts them together. But like, I don't like them individually. It's so weird. Like, I'm so weird about those things. But I love that all of the instructors have their own unique style. And I love how they'll wear like a mesh top over something and they'll take the tank tops and they cut them and they tie them and make them all cute and everything. It's amazing. So I love that you are able to offer that to people to be able to find all of those items because, as you said, they all sell out in the boutique very quickly.
Exactly. And you know, I think, I'm really committed to body positivity and that all different shapes and sizes should have fun with getting dressed to participate in fitness. And, you know, like you mentioned, Robin, it's been really fun to watch her wardrobe as she's gotten pregnant and expanded. And, you know, I said like Robin at about 6 months pregnant is like me at the fittest I've ever been.
Amen.
But, you know, it's been fun to see like different instructors with different body types, like Olivia, who's probably 90 pounds soaking wet. And then Christine, who has, you know, curves in her thighs that she's always talking about, you know, having to embrace after being criticized for her shape and size. And Robin, and, you know, they might all wear the same brand of legging and rock it. And that's really fun. And I think there's a lot, you know, women get a lot of messages on social media and whatever. And to see people who look different ways and all of them look amazing, it's, you know, I think that's a message we all can use.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So I know that you like to keep your branding consistent across all channels. So here's the test. What's your leaderboard name?
Peloton Closet.
There we go. She did it.
We have a winner.
She did it.
I have another. I started out with something else, and I have my other one that I use, but I'm shifting over slowly into Peloton Closet, of course.
Awesome.
That makes sense.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, just remind everybody again one more time where they can, all the places they can find you.
Yeah. So number one space to find me, Peloton Closet, all one word, on Instagram. And I encourage people to DM me, let me know if there's something you're looking for. And I'm happy to help you find it. I post every day, you know, a fresh outfit. Sometimes it's responding to DMs. Sometimes it's just something that's caught my eye. And then I'm also, like I mentioned before, getting more into being on Facebook. I'm on the Peloton Reddit site all the time. And yeah, and on the bike on Peloton Closet.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And, you know, we'll let people know here that we're going to have her back.
We are.
We're going to make Peloton Closet a regular reoccurring segment on the show. People are so fascinated by the boutique and the clothes and how to get them and how to treat them and just everything that goes on there. And we decided we invited her to come back.
And luckily she accepted.
Yes. So thank you very much. And so you'll be hearing more from Torrey and more about the different clothes and where to find clothes like them or how to beat the bots in the boutique that are in there scooping everything up for the resale, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. Coming soon to a Clip Out episode near you. So I guess that's it for this one. Until next time, where can people find you?
Well, I was going to tell people what we were going to have
next
week.
I forgot to ask you. So I guess that's it for this one. What, pray tell, do you have in store for people next week?
That's your line.
There we go. We've only done 194 of these things. Cut me a little slack.
Amanda Teal. I'm really excited about this because she is really super into CrossFit and only recently a Peloton convert.
And that's interesting because the CrossFit people, they get a little, they got their CrossFit and they don't want the Peloton.
Yeah.
And so she's breaking down the barrier. She is.
And so we have a whole conversation about that and reverse dieting, which is fascinating. So I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, the bike, and of course the tread at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online, facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, wherever you get your podcast from, be sure and subscribe so you never miss an episode. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling.
And running.
Clip in, set yourself